Hey, Bridge fans, welcome to an extraordinarily special episode. It is said that all you learn in life, you learn from life. So it means life becomes the best and most prolific teacher. So when I discuss with people who have been through life in terms of longevity of age, time, and experience, I take it very seriously. Today I'm joined by a very special guest to give us a very intimate perspective into life. Ezine Lady Elizabeth Okudarwe JP. Thank you very much, Mama, for being on our show. Thank you. We have to put her through the trouble of bringing her. She's well over 70, still very strong, virile, very smart, very lovely children. Mama, what does it look like being at your age, having all your children? I mean, what's your relationship with them? I know when they were younger, it was instructing them, calling them, shouting at them, putting them, but now they're all adults grown with their own children. What does being a mother at this age feel like now?
It's a thing of joy.
Wow.
It's a thing of joy. And it reminds me of every one of them, especially during their birth. The time they were born, all the trauma I went through during each one of them.
Wow.
But I give God that the 6 children He has given to me, they're all doing well.
6 children?
And alive, yes.
And they're all doing very well?
Very well and alive.
It's a special grace from God to raise 6 children and all of them doing significantly well in health, in wealth, in career, so well. We hosted one of your daughters, Chinedum Amen, a psychotherapist from the US. I mean, tell us about her growing up, about her childhood and her birth. What memories do you hold of that?
She's my first child. And before my marriage, I promised God that anything, while I was in school, there was 2 girls with abortion, misbehaving. Because that time, during my youth, Daisy Danjuma was my classmate.
Okay.
In Hanire.
Wow.
Near Hanire. So we have pretty girls, and you know that time what it will be. So I said to myself, God, whatever that will enter into my belly will not be out. Never abortion, nothing will be removed. And luckily for me, after my school set, I got married.
Okay.
So Chinedum was my first experience of pregnancy. And it was a hell. When you said a hell, it was a hell. From the first month of pregnancy, I was bleeding.
Whoa.
My husband rushed me to the hospital. What will it be? What do I know? I was a novice. The doctor checked me, said that, let us watch. Went back home that I should have bed rest. After 3 months, the bleeding continued. After 3 months, I was having some movement in my tummy. I said, with padded well. But I said, God, what is this? That time I can pray. I've got all the Psalms. Have mercy upon me, O God, according to thy loving kindness. Wow. Psalm 51 was already there, and the Lord is my shepherd. You know, as a young woman. So as time went on, the 4th month, the movement was still in my stomach. I went to my husband said, let us go to the hospital. I went. It was a reverend doctor, a woman, Dr. Callista, that took care of me. After looking at me, said, no, you have to remove this pregnancy. I said, what?
And you already promised God that any pregnancy that goes in here, you will never take it out.
I will never. I said, what? She said, for your life. Look at you going lean, your eye entering into your socket, your shoulder. If you put water on my shoulder, it can stand.
What's wrong with it?
I was like a vulture. So only that the way that God has created me can just admire me. My husband was all the time crying. I would say that's a cup of tea. I will not die, I will live.
Wow.
At the 6th month, the bleeding turned to lumps, black lumps coming out of me. I will put it in cotton wool. I say, God, is it the hand? Is it the head? Sometimes, if I look at it, as if I'm saying something like the eyes of a fish. I said, God, I will not remove anything. I'll put it in a cotton wool, fold it well to the hospital. I'll show the Reverend Doctor. I said, please see what came out of me. He said, no, we have to do D&C. I said, what is D&C? School set. That was, my husband trained me all my life, University of Nsukka, and all the schools that I went to.
From your husband's house?
From my husband's house. So I said, that time, what do you mean by D&C? He said, we have to evacuate the baby, then you live your life. The next baby will come, will not give. I said, God forbid. I promise God that anything that is in this stomach
will not go out.
Will not go out. If you see my husband's face, he has no heart. He's just panicking. I said, what is wrong? Is it not on my body? He said, look at you, you are finished. I said, I'm not finished. The baby is kicking, it's moving. At the 7th month, I went to the hospital. The doctor said the fetal heart is beating, it's doing, but this thing kept on coming out. What must it be? To be honest, he said that you will not have an imbecile or something. I said, none of my child will be an imbecile. I said, doctor, if it's only the hand, let me feel the way a woman feels labor. If it's only the hand that comes out, I will nurture the hand. That is the first time doctor shed tears.
Wow.
That one was not my business. My husband stopped talking to me. He was not himself. He called my dad. Said, see what is happening. My father said, she's twins. Nothing will happen to her. Nothing will happen to her. Don't be afraid. I know the power in her mouth. She will not die. She will have that child.
Wow.
I said, do you hear? He said, look at you. I left. Then at the 8 months, 2 weeks, I went to the hospital. Labor. The doctor said, what's going on? I said, is it not? Do this, do that. I did everything. Immediately the baby came out. Doctor shouted, beautiful baby girl. And she turned the head upside down. That's the first time I saw baby's head turned upside down. She was crying. I said, Chukunedum.
Whoa, that's the name.
That's the name.
That means Lord, the God leads me.
That's how she got that name. In the theater there, Chukunedum. And the time my husband sent the message home to my daddy said her name is Chukunedum.
Whoa.
Confirmation of her name.
Whoa.
I said, see what God has done. Now we say, what God cannot do
does not exist.
And there's power in our lives. Not quite long. After 1 year, I had my second child. Boy, he came Efuna. My handsome son, he came Efuna. And that is how, and they were the easiest delivery. Except my first and my last.
Okay.
I said it.
Okay. Yes. The last one too was actually another very interesting episode.
That's it. I said it's enough. Because I wanted to have children like my mom. My mother had 12. 12 surviving. I'm the only twins among the 12.
Whoa.
So I was looking at my mother. I said, I have children like my mother. I have children like, not knowing that.
So, I would say that, considering the fact that the stories surrounding their birth were different, so it means that raising children, each child is raised differently.
Differently.
Yes.
Differently. And as she was growing up, she's conscious of herself. She knows herself. She will not take no for an answer. Why? Even in school. Chinedum. She still what? From the stomach, her movement, her everything is still the same. You can
determine, strong-willed. And she took that from you because you were determined, you were strong-willed and all this stuff. But it appears, okay, your husband was a very gentle type. God rest his soul.
Englishman.
Yes. And you were the very strong-willed type. How was he able to manage you? I mean, you being like a firm, strong-willed woman and he, a gentleman. How was he able to manage that kind of difference?
No, God has blessed me. Once I look at his face, I know what he wants. And I mellow down.
Okay.
I listen to him a lot. And I know his do's and don'ts. And I go by his laws.
Wow.
And I'm lucky that he loved me. And for all the nobody like the wife.
That's interesting. That's interesting. So how were you able to deal with his death? I mean, I can imagine it was very painful. Somebody you lived your whole life, who was like a counselor, a friend, a senior friend, and everything. And how were you able to deal with his passing? And how would you advise people the loss of a loved one?
If that should happen to anybody, just cling to the Lord. Don't listen to whatever people will say. Every time in your life, think of God. And think of what your husband has done for you and for the sake of the children, that you never let him down. My husband is a known engineer. Even the cathedral, St. Peter's Cathedral, Asaba, his name is engraved there. He loved God. He worked for Christ. He died as a saint. So having all this in mind, nothing disturbs me. I keep on knowing what he wants. I keep on struggling, talking to the children. Don't let your daddy down. Don't. Whatever odds that come across your way, remember that God is there for us. And God is ever there for us. Till tomorrow, God is there for us. At any point, whenever there's power, prayer is the key. And looking unto the Lord with faith, nothing. You can't have any crisis that is beyond you. Don't hope on any man. I never said my brothers, my sisters, my uncle, my in-laws. No. Whatever God has blessed me with, like my husband has put me through, I continued. That is my joy.
I want to ask you one question, Mama. How were you able to handle, growing up, bearing children, being a mother, and working? How were you able to balance that?
It's just the grace of God. Just the grace of God. One day at a time. Once you start your day with Christ, early in the morning, call your children together, pray together. Every other thing will take place without your knowing it. The children will be organized. I will be organized. I believe in prayers, and it has worked greatly for me. And that is how I went all through my life till tomorrow.
So how do you spend your spare time? What do you do with your time now at this age?
After my retirement, I lived a quiet life. Going to my church, doing little of the church activities, keeping the house in order to maintain my husband's life, neatness, and keeping what he has left in order, and having my rest.
Okay, Mama, if I may ask two questions in one. Number one would be, how would you advise the young ladies of these days when choosing a husband? I know, yes, generations have changed, cultural change, technology, society, and sophistication, but with all that, what would be your advice to young ladies, just like an advice and a last word?
My advice is this: don't look at the wealth of the man or the look of the man. Look what you have gained from the heart of the man, from the spoken words of the man, from the character of the man, from the creativity of the man. What can the man bring to the table? How can you be proud of the man? As I entered here, Pastor Dexter, let me ask you this question. How did God give you the wisdom and the knowledge to be so creative to do all this? I admire you.
My God.
I admire you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Please tell me. You did not go to university for creative arts? I may say.
Not at all. I studied public administration. Totally unconnected.
And see the gift all over him, all over his ministry, his office, his home, anywhere he has something to do. It's unique.
Wow. Thank you very much.
I'm not flattering you, but people can bear me out. I'm grateful.
Thank you very much, Mama. But thinking deeply about the question you asked, Mama, about how I'm able to put all this together, I believe so much in predestination. Even though we still have the right to make our choices, how our life turns out. But if you look deep, just like they'll tell you in pregnancy, at the earliest stage of a pregnancy, it's to say that the first scan gives you the most accurate EDD. When a child is born, as you're growing up, your dreams and your aspirations as you're growing up usually becomes like the most reliable compass of your life. I've always dreamt to be on TV. Yes, when I was a child, I had this flair for speech, for speaking, for ministry. I knew God called me when I was 5 years old, and I've been doing ministry all my life. Even from secondary school, my mates will know I did ministry all through secondary school, university, and I still had a knack for creativity, for the media space and things like that. And I just followed through. Yes, I didn't do anything with my certificate, I didn't do anything with it, but I thank God for the exposure in university. So I followed through with that, and I always had this thing in me to help people, young people, give back. So I always saw my business as an opportunity to have other young people rally around me and give them an opportunity to pursue their life. So I believe in doing that. God also showed me mercy, helped me in my very small ways with the very limited means I had to build beyond what my money could afford. I think the creativity and all those stuff. So I keep pursuing it, like you said, one day at a time. I don't compare. I have friends who are doing way better in whatever yardstick you measure, but I'm happy with my life per time. Why aspiring for more? I don't do comparisons. I don't skip malice. I don't begrudge anybody. As far as I'm concerned, malice is the worst sin. That's my reckoning. So I live my life, number one, to help people. Even my business, largely to help people, give them a platform. So I do that, and I believe I'm ultimately accountable to God.
Yes.
So I just do it one day at a time. I seek joy in everything I do while aspiring and building more. Things just keep unfolding. And Mama, you're the first guest that asked me a question on my show. So young ladies out there, look beyond the ephemeral.
Yes.
Look at the soul quality. Look at character, integrity. Look beyond that. If you look at the soul, you can get anything that's beyond wealth. Wealth to follow. Wealth follows character, follows value. Thank you very much, Ezine Lady Elizabeth Okudare JP. Very interesting storyteller. She's a woman that believes in legacy, and it's been very nice speaking with you. Grandma, and soon to be a great grandma.
Grandma, in Jesus' name.
Amen. Thank you, Mama, for your time.
God bless you.
Yes. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. I believe you learned a lot from it. There is more. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and follow us on other social media platforms so you can see more interesting content and let others see the same thing that you have seen. Thank you.